Welcome to another edition of Wings Weekly. Jake Line Connect here, and this time we have assistant coach Mike Hill, as head coach Langer is over at Top Prospects in Attlesboro, Massachusetts. And I got to be honest with you, Coach Hill, there's been a lot of people that have been waiting for this day. I get a lot of people that say, when are you going to get Coach Hill on? It'd be nice to hear from him. So I thought we'd start with our usual kind of breakdown of games, but 3 games in 3 days. Let's start with Thursday, a 3-2 loss to Bismarck after leading 2-0. What did you think of the team's performance on Thursday night?
When I met with the guys after that, I felt, when I told them, I said we played a solid 33 minutes. And it was the first 33. And, part of trying to get the lead is once you have the lead, you got to know how to play with it. And I don't think we played with the lead that well. Bismarck kind of came out and they had some good execution, good bounces, and that's a result there. We just weren't having the energy. I felt that we needed to continue on to be victorious that game, and I think that's what hurt us there.
Yeah. Well, a bounce-back game in Brookings, a 4-1 win, and honestly, I talked with Coach Langer pregame Saturday, and I thought Friday night's game there was a lot more energy, and I mentioned in the pregame with him then too that just from my proximity or the close proximity to the bench, I could look down and see guys like Dalton Weigel looking down the line and telling everyone, energy up, keep it up, and it seemed like a much better game overall. What did you think?
Yeah, I agree. Energy was there, and after the game on the night before on Thursday night, that was one of the team discussions there. Like, there just hasn't been that energy that we've seen the past 4 or 5 games before that. And we have a process that we try to meet every game, and energy is one of it. It's not just it doesn't take one guy to kind of keep that energy going. It takes all the guys, and whether it's hitting, blocking a shot, winning a good draw when we need it in the D zone, or just pushing the pace a little bit. And like you said, Dalton is one of those guys. He's a real energy guy that he's really uplifting when we need him to be, and do stuff like that. And I felt he led the guys in that energy category, just uplifting them on Friday night.
For sure. Of course, capped off with a shocking Michigan move from Adam Bitters that has the
Yeah, I'm glad I taught him that week. So
that week, yeah. It just still blows me away that not only the space and time and everything to actually execute that, and that he thought of it. So
you see it too, like on his face, he he's like that little skill guy that wants to do something that's risky. And, if he doesn't do it, we're probably going to lean into him. But he had some good wax on his stick, I guess, and got a little sticky on the puck. And then he saw his opportunity there on the power play to, they were just kind of flat-footed standing in front of the net. So he's like, all right, I'll do it. So and he'll be in here to tell you exactly what his thoughts were on that and everything.
Yeah.
But
yeah, he'll be joining us in a bit. I'm definitely going to ask him about it, but. I was just kind of dumbfounded. Just stood there with my mouth open for a second, going, "What just happened?"
Yeah. Can't believe what I just saw. I think what are your exact words on that?
Okay, then we move on to Saturday night, and a convincing 7-1 performance on Saturday. And you guys really had to like what you saw there, especially in a third game of 3 days. That the energy was up again.
Yeah, energy was up. Execution was there. Guys were kind of buying in a little bit. We had a little bit of teaching moments here before we left to head there on simple things, just on line rushes, what it takes to execute. And I think we ended up having, 3 line rush goals that game, with Bendy making a good play on the 1-second goal for the game winner for Kennedy. Getting up with speed, attacking into the middle a little bit more, and puts it on net where Kennedy's able to finish on it, and that's good for him to get a good finish. He hasn't done that in a long time, probably 6-7 games, but it's good to see him really drive that net and get one.
Well, and I've talked with Coach Langer lately about teams, and the trap that they're kind of running and filling the neutral zone up, trying to take away transition. You guys were able to have a lot more flow in transition on Saturday night, it seemed. Is it just pushing your way through, basically?
Yeah, I think part of it's pushing our way through, and with teams how they're going to be pre-scouting us, we kind of know exactly. They're trying to slow us down in that neutral zone, and a lot of times, if you're able to win the blue lines, you're able to win the game. So it's really you got that footage of one way and then the other. So it's either you're going to be that team that's going to push pace, or that team that's just going to take your foot off the gas, and we got to just learn to put our foot on the gas the whole 60 minutes.
Right on. All right, well, that's the last 3 games. Let's move on to you a little bit. And of course, when you were hired and came on, we talked with Coach Langer a little bit about your background and so on, but haven't had a chance really to talk with you, and where fans can watch and see a little bit out of your own words. You played for Coach Langer, and you've known him for quite a long time. To walk us through your junior hockey career and your collegiate career, and what led you to coaching.
So first, when it came to juniors, I started off in Wichita Falls. It wasn't a very good experience for me there. Only really got to play half the season, 12 games, and I ended up having to leave there because the coach at the time just wanted everyone to fight. I just wanted to play the game. I didn't think, and sooner or later fighting was going to be taken out of it. Ended up leaving there and finished off that season with U18s, and then Smack traded for me. So that for the next season, ended up joining him. For that following season, I think that was 08-09, around there, okay. And had some good success that year. I think we won the South Division both years back to back when I played for him. And first year played for him, we had just a really good heavy team. A lot of goal scorers. I know we had one guy who was over 80 points, and I was probably maybe 5-6 down the line from there. But then the following year, played my last year of junior eligibility for him. Within the first month, I had the opportunity to go try USHL. I was drafted to Waterloo in the first round, and I had a lot of trust in Smack to get me a college deal, because I've seen what he's done in the past, and so I just put my faith and trust in him, and I knew he was going to get it done. So that I just felt very comfortable staying with him and playing for him. And had another good season. I think back-to-back 30-plus goal seasons for him, and had a college deal, Alaska Fairbanks. Ended up getting injury my last year playing juniors and had to sit out my freshman year of college, and then ended up not working out there at Alaska when I got cleared to play, so I ended up transferring to St. Norbert College, and played 3 years there, won a national championship in 14 with them, and that was probably a really good move for me personally, and for my family too, because I was married right after juniors. I found my wife. I knew who she was. I locked her down, kept it, and then junior year of college ended up having our first daughter, and it was probably that was one of the best decisions I've made right there. And then after college, played a little bit in the minors, ECHL, SPHL, and was just having little nagging injuries, hip, head, and all this kind of deal. And I don't think I could have had an extended career, and I didn't want to, put that wear and tear on my body where it would affect for me and my family down the long run, and got right into coaching right after that, and couple years in the NA3 as a head coach, GM there for Texas Brahmas. So I got my start, and then right after my last season there, we had a really good season there in the NA3. Made it to the Cup finals, or the Cup tournament there, the Fraser Cup, and was now starting for the next year for the Brahmas. And come to learn, when Bone was moving on, the day I found out, I texted Smack, and he ended up being in Dallas. And so I dropped everything I did that day just to meet with him to get an interview in, because I knew, like, this is going to be my only chance. I got to make sure that I go in. So I went to one of my best buddies' house right down the road from the rink. I was at the rink doing lessons, all this stuff. Had to drop what I was doing, and I borrowed a polo shirt and some slacks from him because I'm in workout stuff from doing lessons and workouts with kids. And so, because I wanted to show him like I'm here, I'm ready. I want to help out. I want to contribute.
Seriously.
Yeah. So, and that's had the talk with him within I think 5-6 days. Him and Mr. Odie gave me the call and said I was the guy, and said awesome, let's get started then.
Get to work.
Yeah.
Well, that actually worked out well that you went through that process, because that was going to be my next question, was what was your action and how did that hiring process go? Because that was from a fan that was just curious how that all went.
Because I know there's quite a few people reaching out to him on it. They had a guy already set for the job, and he ended up getting a job elsewhere right before anything happened, and he left. And so that's where it like really was my time to kind of jump in there and prove to him, I want to do this. And
excellent
for him to learn from a guy that has the record that he's been consistently showing again and again with all the wins and everything. Like, he's a winner. I want to be just as much as a winner as him, so I'm going to learn from one of the best winners in the game.
Well, and it's interesting because that actually, again, transitions to my next question, which is that, I've heard from many people around that he was pretty brilliant when it comes to adjustments and coaching and so on, especially in-game situations and seeing things that he can capitalize on and so on. And I had a fan that said that you seem like you're very active as well and very animated and moving around a lot on the bench and so on. And they wanted me to ask how much in-game stuff that you learned from him or pick up on perhaps, and that you then take on that same role as far as kind of being able to make adjustments with players and so on and pulling them aside, and then maybe even a little bit of yelling and shouting once in a while, or whatever it takes.
Yeah, I mean, I like to get really involved, and I'm really lucky that Smack puts a lot on my plate so that it doesn't just help me as a coach to develop my coaching game, it also helps the team. So like, I'm seeing stuff that maybe he misses, or and I'll be, I run the D during the game. For me, I coach them a little bit differently. I coach them as a forward, as what's difficult for a forward to accomplish stuff on D, rather than, D, do this. Like, I tell them, like, if I'm going, this is like, do this, so it's difficult for the forward to come down. I do a lot of that type of coaching. And then with the forwards during game stuff too, like, it's more of me getting behind them, whispering in their ear, hey, let's, if you want to make this play easier, do this kind of deal. So, and I get a little bit animated during games too, and I think that's just the fun part of the game. Smack does it, I do it. We're just
passionate.
Yeah, very passionate. We hate to lose, and then also love to win.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to do whatever we can to have that feeling of a loss.
And I've also, it's interesting because people have asked me, and I've often wondered, that he was a defenseman. You're a forward, Bones is a forward. We're like, why wouldn't he coach the D and have the forward coaching the forward? But it's all about perspective, about what, that's interesting.
I find that, I think that happens a lot, actually. That was the same with my college at St. Norbert. Coughlin was a defenseman, and then the years I was there, we had Ryan Peterson, now with Green Bay in the USHL. He was a forward. He was just a very two-way forward. And then AJ Aiken, also there in Green Bay for St. Norbert, he was a forward as well, a skill kind of guy, I guess. But because he was always teaching skill stuff before and after practice for us. But also they were two guys coaching D during games kind of deal, and that was their responsibility. I think too, it helps grow the coach getting into a different role.
Interesting.
So yeah.
Very cool. Okay, a couple of other questions that I had from some fans that were curious. They want to know about your favorite NHL team.
LA Kings.
The LA Kings.
Yeah. I grew up in Southern California during the Gretzky era, so he was there.
That explains a lot.
Yeah, he's the reason why I started hockey, is because watching Gretzky for the LA Kings in the early '90s. That's, you have this big boom from, I think it's around 88 birth years to 93 birth years. So you got, like, right now Nashville Predators, Rocco Grimaldi is 93, played against him and with him growing up before he moved on to Michigan. But also you got some 88s and 89s that during that era you see a big boom of hockey players that probably Gretzky's responsible for that. So
really
yeah.
Interesting. Well, I know that definitely happens, because I know that the Aberdeen Cougars and the developmental program have had some of their biggest years when the Wings came. In that 2010, 2011, that a lot of guys or kids got excited and passionate about hockey. So for sure, you've been around hockey a long time, around junior hockey and so on. What are your thoughts on the fan support that you see here at the Odie, or to see it at Brookings like that, to see that many people? It felt like a home game almost.
Yeah, that's the fun thing about when we play at Brookings. It does feel like a home game sometimes. The fans here are just incredible. When Smack was telling me about it during the summer times, you'll just see the crowd, just all the stands filled. You'll have standing room only back there, and I was like, man, I can't wait to see it. And sure enough, he was right. And seeing the support that we have in the community and the fans here is just outstanding. Like, I've seen quite a few programs, and then in this division alone, you see, like, it's a good division where there's some good fan bases, but I don't think you see anything how loud and rowdy it gets at the Odie on a home game. It's something else seeing that.
For sure. Another question that a fan had asked me to ask, and I've asked this so often of players because I think it's kind of interesting, but do you have any superstitions?
I think so. I have to get the same coffee every home game. I make my way to Starbucks around 3:15 to go pick it up. It's already ordered by the time I get in. It's in and out. No drive-through. Had the pre-ordered. Usually I won't dry clean a suit if we win in that suit. So I'll keep that suit dirty for a little bit. It gets, and
wash the winds out.
I did have a dirty suit there for a couple months. So got it dry cleaned, and it's ready to stay dirty for a little bit longer now.
Sounds good. The week of top prospects is interesting because you guys, obviously you're missing players, you're missing your head coach. How do you prepare? I mean, you've got Minot coming up, and for the preparation as a whole, it would be a little bit difficult. But then on top of it, do you have just your usual practices, or do you kind of do some different things?
Yeah, we'll mostly have the usual practice. You look at what we have for practice this week. 5 guys there. We're gonna have 4 lines, and got a couple of our prospect players coming in this week too. So we're gonna have full set of D as well. So we'll have about 7-8 D for practice, and about 12 forwards. We've got both our goalies here, so it's gonna be a normal practice week for the guys here. And then when the guys get back from top prospects, what they're seeing 5 games in 6 days.
Yeah.
You got to give them that Wednesday off, and then Thursday is going to be our really full team day to kind of prepare for Minot. So we're going to kind of, Smack and I, cram them with the right kind of knowledge they need to be successful on the weekend.
Okay. What are your primary duties as an assistant coach? Do you, for example, break down more film and then take it to Coach Langer, or maybe you have a little bit more interaction with players and then kind of report back, or how does the head coach assistant coach relationship kind of like meld?
Yeah, a little bit of both. So I do a lot of film breaking down. I'll meet with individual players on the film that I break down. Smack will see mostly all the film before I present it to the players, because I'll be coaching the guys on the film when it comes to that, and then he'll get his voice opinion in when he really wants to hit something home. Like if a team's consistently doing something, he'll stop the video session real quick just to like hammer that home a little bit more. Mm-hmm. He puts a lot on my plate, which I think I'm really thankful for, because like I'm doing a lot, so that for me it's helping me. Mm-hmm. And I'm with the guys every day. I kind of joke around because of how good I am and everything on the ice, and about how I'm able to snipe on them all the time. And Pitters will tell you next how good of a stick handler I am. So but yeah, I'm in with the guys. I joke around with them from just a coaching point. So I'm really down to their level a little bit. I think my youth is my advantage there as well. And then my knowledge of the game is also, I think, what Smack has taken out of it too, which I think is, I'm really blessed that he takes my opinion and takes it to heart too.
Right.
He's not just going to blow me off. He's going to really consider, if he sees something that, he'll take it in.
Good working relationship for sure. Well, Wings are on top of the division right now with 73 points. Minot has 55 in second, Austin 54 in third, and Bismarck 51. Minnesota Wilderness with 50, and Brookings at the bottom with 21. Minot comes to town this weekend. You can see them, a doubleheader here at the Odie. They split the weekend with Austin the last Friday and Saturday. What are you seeing? What are you expecting from Minot?
Minot is just a team that doesn't really give up. They just kind of get on the press. They go. Offensively, they're really sound. They got some big contributors. So I think the more that we could counter in our defensive zone and try to get into the offensive zone, that would be better for us. Goaltending-wise, they got a couple of good goaltenders over there where any night one of them could seal the game.
Yep.
So it's a whole rounded game when it comes to Minot. It's not just going to be one thing that we got to focus on and get better at this and continue to do something this way. It's just everything. We got to make sure that we're on. Especially, you look at 2 through 5 in our division right now. It's separated by 3 games, basically. Yep. 5 points, and it's a tough division to play in. And I got to learn that as coaching in it and seeing how our guys compete every day. Every game is going to be a battle. It's going to be a struggle if you don't do it the right way. Right. And for our guys, even Brookings is been a team lately that just has been a force to deal with. Yeah. They beat us in OT a couple weeks back, and they've held us to 1-goal games quite a bit throughout the season. So it's not just going to be an easy win. Every time you get on the ice, we know it's going to be a grind, and that's our mentality around it.
Okay. All right. Well, Coach, finally, I wanted to talk a little about your family. I know, obviously, as you mentioned, married and kids. Tell us a little about that. How are they like in Aberdeen and stuff? But then also your extended family. I know that your parents follow the team and follow the games quite a bit and follow and probably your biggest supporters, or among them anyway.
So I got my family here. I have my wife, Laura, 2 daughters, Charlotte, who's turning 2 here in March, 4-year-old Johanna, and I have my father-in-law with us here, Frank. And he's been living with us the last 4 years now, and he's kind of a fun energy guy to be around. He loves whatever team I'm with when he was in college, and now it was the Brahmas. Now he's the biggest Wing fan. So Al Logue's got a run for his money there, that wingman guy. And then my dad and mom down in Texas, and then my mom and dad down in Arizona. So my parents are separated. So I got my dad and stepmom in Texas. My little brother's starting to play hockey there, and then my mom, stepdad in Arizona. They're always talking to me after the games. They love it. They're like at my mom's house. They're always having family watching the games, which has always been awesome, whether it's college or me coaching.
Sure.
And then same deal with my dad, with my little brother playing. He's always just trying to learn, as a 9-10-year-old. So they're watching every game too. It's good to have that full family support everywhere.
Yeah, I think across up and down the line, whether it's coaching, playing, whatever. I mean, around hockey, family, and having that support, like you talked about, is tremendous, and that's great to hear a little about your support system. Anyway, Coach, that will pretty much wrap up what I'm going to waste your time with. I won't keep you any longer, but I appreciate your candid nature and your answers. Everything was great, and happy to have you on here and to get a chance for fans to see a little insight into what your day is like, what your thought process is and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so, absolutely. Thank you.
You bet. We'll be back with the second portion of Wings Weekly with a couple of players coming up after this.
Let's make a taco. No, seriously. Start with a tortilla, soft tortilla. Warm it, kiss it. Don't kiss it. Chicken? How about tequila lime chicken? Now we're cooking. Slice this, peel that, snip those. Salsa? Verde. Cheese? Cotija. Oh, forgot to mention. Guac. That's better. See, anyone can make a taco, but we're not anyone. We're Qdoba, and these are knockout tacos. Qdoba Mexican Eats. Choose flavor.
Welcome back to Wings Weekly, and as promised, a couple of players joining me. Adam Pitters of Grosse Pointe, Michigan, and Tim Mikowski of Baldwin, Missouri. Boys, thanks for coming on the show here today.
Thank you for having us.
This isn't going to be too tough. I don't have a whole lot of questions for you guys. I just wanted to kind of get a feel for how you guys are feeling as a team after a couple of big energy wins against Brookings. Well, I got to start out with the Michigan. That was pretty sick, and it's all over the internet, all over Twitter and Facebook. People are sharing it all over. People talk. I was sitting there. I thought you were digging the puck out like it was caught in the net or something, and I'm going, "What's he doing?" And then you pop up, and I couldn't believe what I had seen. And I mentioned it on the broadcast. I've seen the original, Michigan Wolverine from behind the net. And I've seen it in practice and stuff, but I've never seen it live in a game. And I was dumbfounded. I'm just like, I can't believe what I just saw. Like, How did you do that? What is going through your head at that point where you're thinking, you know what? There's nobody around me. I don't see a passing lane, whatever. I'm just going to try this.
Honestly, I wasn't thinking at all when I did it. Just kind of a reaction. I messed around in practice a lot, doing that on the goalies. And I think something took over my body, said do it. And I think my first reaction was like, oh my God, what's Slanger's thoughts?
Could be mad.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be mad at first, but got back to the bench and he was all smiles. And so it worked out in a good way.
Coach Hill told me just a little bit ago here that he showed you that week that he taught you how to do that.
No, he has not taught me anything. The only thing he's good for is video. He has pretty bad hands. I know he likes to say he has good hands, but his breakaways are atrocious. And I think he lost juice. It's a game we played 3 times in a row. So, yeah.
That's contrary to what he just told me. Yeah. So, Timmy, can you jump in this and verify one way or the other whether Coach Hill has silky hands, silky mitts, or if Adam here is kind of making things up?
I'm not 100% sure on the juice game and all that. I could probably bet that he did lose, but I have heard him on numerous occasions talking to Langer in their office together about how good of hands I have compared to himself. So he said he watches through the door in the glass just to see what type of stick handling drills I'm doing, just to kind of learn. And he practices them once I leave the rink and head to work. So, I know I'm a mentor for him, and he's going to look up to me. And, that's just kind of what I expect to do as a leader on this team. And sometimes it brings the coaches along with the young guys as well.
Well, that's well said. I'm not exactly sure how to respond to that, but okay. So, Coach Hill's learning from the veteran, Tim Mikowski. All right. Guys, a tough loss up here Thursday, and you bounced back a couple of big wins against Brookings, obviously, and a big energy game on Friday and Saturday. After Thursday night, what was the meeting? I mean, you don't have to tell me exactly, but what was just generally the message in the locker room? What did you guys kind of share with one another or talk about?
We weren't happy, and we definitely weren't satisfied with how we played on Thursday. We had a 19-game win streak, and I think, that was a big part of hard work and doing the little things right, and spectacular goaltending, all 4 lines producing, all 60 that were playing that night playing well. And I think we kind of, once we lost our winning streak, I think we kind of got away from those little details. So I think it was just focusing on bringing back the hard work, the intensity, focusing on the little stuff that, ends up being the biggest part. So yeah. I think that was the biggest message that we came out of after Thursday's loss.
Adam, after the team gets together after a loss like that, and like what and as Tim talked about the message, everybody's on the same page. You're getting together with you need to build that energy. what does that mean to you guys? How do you get started then when you go, say, for example, you're on the road the next game, you're in Brookings, and are there reminders, or is everybody kind of already up? You know what I mean? Like is it like, hey, remember what we talked about last night, or can you just look around the locker room and tell that guys have juice that night?
Yeah, honestly, I think after Thursday, we were all ready to go. We finally realized like we're a championship team when you start playing like one, and we took that loss to heart. And you could just look around the locker room and see it in everybody's eyes like we were going to dominate. And we didn't need to tell anybody again. Just we already knew, and we're ready to go.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, I wanted to ask you, I know you're a fan of wedding dances. So who would be the best dancer in this locker room? I know you guys got music going, pregame, postgame, etc. You've seen these guys dance, right?
Yeah, I'd probably say I'm the best dancer.
Somehow I expected that, but
I like to get loose. I took dancing classes back in the day.
Ballroom,
ballet, it's just tango. Like I'm really good at salsa dancing. Ask Timmy, he knows. I taught him a few moves, and I'd say close runner-ups maybe John Sladek. He's more of just like a jumping guy, but he gets the boys going with the dance moves, and and John Bendorf's not that bad. I'll give him a shout out too.
Okay, Timmy, best dancer.
I definitely put me up there, but behind me, I'd put Bendorf. He's got some good moves. Sladek has just got a lot of energy, so that definitely puts him up in the top rankings.
He's like what they used to call a slam dancer. You're jumping into each other and stuff.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a big pump up guy for our locker room, so he's definitely up there.
Who's the worst dancer? Who's got two left feet?
Tim Mikowski.
Probably Huey, because Huey or Krupp, that's for sure. Those two guys just don't have a whole lot of rhythm in their bodies. Nothing against them. It's just they don't have that gene.
Not everybody can be good at everything. That's
Huey got the NHL dad gene, but he didn't get the dancing gene, sadly. So,
Pitsy, what's your take on the worst dancer?
I'm gonna have to go Michael Hill. He comes in and tries dancing with the boys, but he's just so bad we have to kick him out.
Head coach record?
Yeah, his head coach record is 2-0. Sorry, Scott. I think he's got you beat there, but I love you.
Undefeated as a head coach.
Yeah, he's undefeated. We got to give him his credit when it's due. And but you're still number one in my heart, Scott.
All right, guys, let's move along here. Minot coming in. How do you, again, I talked with Coach Hill a little bit about the weird kind of week in a sense. You're missing guys, and then they come back and only have really a day, Thursday, to practice together as a team, and as a whole. How do you prepare for Minot, and what do you guys got to do to keep things going?
It's just gonna be a normal week, just practice hard, work hard, and just normal week. I watch video on them and just get ready, prepare.
Timmy, you see any keys?
Like I said earlier, I think it just comes down to hard work and the little details, because we could say, oh, yeah, we only have one day of a full team practice, but then that's not a good excuse because every other team has that same excuse. So Minot's going to have, they're going to have players coming in and only practicing Thursday. So that's not an excuse. So we just got to be ready for them. And, they're going to give us their best. So we got to give them our best and more.
Right on. All right, well, boys, I won't keep you much longer here. I do appreciate you taking some time to come on the show, though, and puff your chest a little bit and let everybody know just who's the best at everything. Okay, at AHL top prospects, Sean Kennedy, Riley Murphy, John Sladek, Max Salpeter, and then, of course, Pearson Brandon with the Selects Red and head coach Scott Langer of the Central Division. Those games are underway right now, today, Monday, and again tomorrow. So the schedule for Tuesday, anyway, is the Selects Red versus Team Central at 9 a.m. Central. All Wings will be represented in that game, including Coach Langer, of course. Watch the games on hockeytv.com. That's a 9 a.m. Central. Select Reds versus Team Central. February 22nd, the Wings versus the Minot Minotauros. Stutzman Harley-Davidson is the corporate sponsor is Dickey Rural Networks. And high school student night, $2 off at the door for any high school student with a valid ID. And February 23rd, Minot Minotoro's Stutzman Harley-Davidson corporate sponsor is the Yildiz Shrine and the Shrine Teddy Bear Toss. So bring a stuffed animal in a plastic bag, throw onto the ice after the first Wings goal. Animals will be donated to the Shriners Children's Hospital in the Twin Cities. And it's PC night. All PC students will receive free admission courtesy of Presentation College. Bring your skates and skate with the Wings after the game. Doors open for all Wings home games at 5:30, and the puck always drops at 7:15. $10 general admission tickets are on sale now at any of the 4C Express locations in Aberdeen with additional purchase. For all the latest news and information, visit AberdeenWings.com or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. So again, thanks guys for coming on. Your best of luck coming up against Minot. And that will pretty much wrap up this week's Wings Weekly.